earhook through us earbuds has always been physically big, and that's simply because the earhooks themselves take up a ton of space. Just take a look at the QCY T6 I reviewed a while back. It's so big you have to put it inside a bag. I can't even close my fists when I hold the case. Well, that problem ends today. The new Soundcore Sport X10 has a rotatable earhook design which makes for this significantly smaller size, and it doesn't stop there. It has full waterproofing, ANC transparency, physical buttons with amazing app support. I'll tell you everything about it and you'll see why this is the ultimate workout earbuds. Oh, and also it sounds really good. Let's get started. Selamat pagi! Good morning everyone, Kenneth here and welcome to my review of the Soundcore Sport X10. Now, I don't review sports earbuds often, but this is something that I genuinely am excited for. Before we start though, make sure to check out the links down below for discount codes. You might be able to score this under 80 bucks. And as always, my full disclosure is down below, which basically reads, I'm always giving you my own honest opinion. Now, I gave some thought into which earbuds I should pick and compare, and I ended up with the Earfun Free Pro 2, which is basically Field T2 Pro on bass EQ. So the sound signature is similar, but it also has a similar price point. It's also suitable for workouts because of that ear fins, and it's got ANC transparency as well. Basically, I think it'll be a good comparison for this video, but for now, let's start talking about the sound quality first. I want to start with Relolo by Gloria Tells, which starts off with guitars and soft hi-hats. All is good until the bass drops at 18 seconds mark. Oh my goodness, my face went like oof, you know, jamming, like the bass goes deep, it's going to hit your chest. The instruments, the vocals are nice and clear, very well separated. I'm just getting goosebumps all over. It sounds so good and I strongly recommend you to give this song a listen. You will love it. Now, this is actually not the Soundcore signature sound you get out of the box, but it's a custom EQ which I made based on the bass reducer setting. I put the bass all the way down, trying to make the mid similar to the default setting, then I increased the treble to give some airy feel. The end result pretty much eliminates the mid-bass bloat, I would say, that I personally felt so boosted by default, which makes it like suffocating inside the head. This EQ creates some space between the deep sub-bass rumble and the band instruments on the upper regions, so it's just much more nicer to listen to. The Earfun Free Pro 2 sounds very similar to the default Soundcore EQ, but there is no app support, which means you are stuck with this sound. I know the Field T2 Pro has app support, but you'll have to deal with importing stuff, Chinese app and everything. I'll link my comparison video down below in case you want to check it after this video. But getting back to topic here, this is exactly why I think the Soundcore is the better choice. There's no hassle at all, it is globally supported, everything is in English, and you can tweak the EQ, set it however you like. That flexibility is really valuable in my opinion. But as you can see here, even if I turn the 100Hz all the way down, the Soundcore Sport X10 still has so much bass rumble, so keep in mind that these are, at its core, a bassy earbuds. Now, what if you like that mid-bass boost? Well, in this case, the Earfun might be an option, but comparing default to default sound, the Soundcore is actually still superior since the Earfun can't quite reach the deeper sub-bass region. And if you like even more bass boost, then there's a bass up toggle that you can turn on, and this time it will really change the sound signature, exchanging everything in the name of more bass, or actually more mid-bass, because the sub-bass is just like that. I'll stick with my EQ though, which I personally think is where the Soundcore shines the most, and whether it's female vocal in Wish You Well by Sigala or male vocal in Don't You Worry Child, they're always crisp and clear, very well separated from the strong bass rumble. I said that before. And then when we're going into dubstep territory like Bangarang or The Devil's Den by Skrillex, the rumbling bass is almost like a pair of headphones. It is so heavy and it's so addictive. Let me just say it right now, the Sport X10 is my favorite bass-heavy earbud so far. And that marks the end of the sound quality part. If you appreciated the video, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe for more tech and audio reviews like this, and let's start talking about what is actually the most important aspect: the build quality and fit. So what makes the Sport X10 unique are none other than these rotatable ear hooks, which one, gives you a secure fit even during the hardest workout sessions, and two, when you're done, you store them in this normal looking case that you can actually pocket boom, mind-blowing, I know. But okay, let's slow down the hype train a little bit and talk about the facts, because these are more like half ear hooks. The fit isn't as tight as a full ear hook design, but it's actually a good thing because firstly, it has no risk of hurting at the backside of the ear, which is a concern with the Powerbeats Pro, and secondly, it's still super secure nonetheless. I've used this basically every time I hit the gym, and only rarely I found the need to readjust. Now, as for the ear tips, the Sport X10 has a short inner shaft, which means they don't go in as deep as your normal in-ear buds would, but the ear hook already takes care of that forward and backwards movement, so the ear tips only need to isolate you from the external noise, which it does well on my right ear, but on my left ear, the ear canal is just weird. Always having problems with most earbuds, so even the Sport X10 could get loose and move outwards a little bit from time to time. Obviously, this varies from person to person, but one thing is for sure. Since the earbud doesn't go too deep, there's very little sucked in feeling. So when you're talking, walking, or running, you won't find your footsteps to be annoying. You won't find your own sound to be, going inside your head a lot. And compared to the Earfun Free Pro 2, the Soundcore is always going to be more comfortable because the ear fins will hurt after a while because they put pressure on your ear concha. Now, all this, and we actually haven't talked about the build quality, but let's talk about it. Typical Soundcore, these are very well built. I love the IPX7 waterproofing. You can take these to shower, wash them after a sweaty workout, or heck, they might fall into the toilet or something, and you can rest assured that these will survive. Now, to complement that, we've got a physical button here, so no accidental touches will happen when water comes, and the microphones for ANC transparency are tucked nicely behind a metal mesh at the backside, so you won't accidentally rub over it. These ear hooks are soft and flexible, and on the inner shaft we've got this red metal piece that at this point is just a piece of art. And talking about the case now, the design is just as brilliant because not only we've got USB-C in pairing button, we've also got a battery indicator that doubles as a button to open the lid. And it all happens magnetically, so everything is a smooth process. The lid is spring-loaded so it stays open no matter what. It's a translucent design too, which is a nice touch. But what's most important to me is actually after you wear these earbuds, you don't have to rotate the ear hooks back. You just put it to the case as normal, then close the lid, and the ear hook will automatically return to its folded state. It's really ingenious. Let's move on to the final big section now and talk about the experience. To start, I want to discuss about app support, which is a big part of why I love Soundcore products. Firstly, there's no need to log in, but if you do, you can save your custom EQs, which is nice. Pairing and changing the settings is always painless, and check this out. We've got a new widget called Breathe, which helps you warm up or cool down with different breathing intervals. There's some nice ambient music as well. It's a nice touch, but let's continue and see what else do we have here. So we've gone through the equalizer already. Let's talk about controls. Sadly, it is unfortunate that 3 taps option is not here. So we can't have the usual 1 tap at volume, 2 tap for play pause, and 3 taps for next previous control scheme. You need to remember where the next song is. Right now, it's on the left side double tap, but I could also put it on the right side hold, for example. It's not the end of the world, but I don't like this inconsistency. Now, this is the control scheme if you are using both earbuds. What if you're only using single earbud? Well, the control scheme decreases even further to only double tap and hold. But instead of, you're stuck with next song or whatever, Soundcore took care of this and changed the controls individually to play, pause, and voice assist. And you can customize it further. This is alright, but let's say if we have triple tap here, we could also have next song, and if you notice, there's no transparency mode in single earbud mode, which is a shame really. Speaking of ambient mode, do keep in mind that what I'm testing here is the pre-release version. That's why you see all these beta marks. So what I experience here could be improved further in the final release, so I won't talk too much here, but considering all that, these perform very well. It pretty much blocks all the low frequency rumbles, low hummings, even starts to block some of the mid-range voices like people talking, music playing, fan noise. But it's worth noting that the Earfun Free Pro 2 is still better than the Soundcore here, because this one has a little bit more noise if you listen in a really quiet room, and also it doesn't block as much mid-frequency as the Earfun, but it's really close. And that's good enough for most people. Oh, and as a bonus, this has very little, sucked in feeling. like you're dropped inside of water, whereas the Earfun will have more of that. I think more people will prefer this. Now, what the Soundcore has and the Earfun doesn't though is wind noise reduction. This switches the ANC mode to a slightly more open one, but it completely rejects wind noise that is captured by the mic. And it happens automatically a few seconds after it detects a continuous wind blowing in. You can turn this on from the settings icon on the top right corner, but keep in mind, if you're not going to use this, turn it off to save a little bit of battery. As for the transparency, this is actually a pleasant surprise for me since they sound very natural. Unlike the Earfun Free Pro 2 that sounds like you're listening through a tin can. I can comfortably hold a conversation without issue here. There's no added hissing whatsoever. It's really nice, just like the Liberty 3 Pro. And yeah, that's a really good thing. Now let's talk about battery life, and in my experience these are pretty much in line with what Soundcore claims, which is 6 hours of playtime with ANC on or 8 hours of playtime with ANC off. These are at 50% volume, by the way, which is loud enough for longer listening sessions, but you might find the need to pump it up to 70% or more during workouts, which might impact the battery a bit, but generally it is an excellent performer, and the case carries 3 more charges as usual, which translates to about 1 charge every weekend or even more. Finally, about connectivity, I see a lot of people complaining about the lack of aptX support, but think about this. aptX may or may not give you a noticeable, let alone significant sound quality improvement. You can try it out yourself, but one thing is for sure, it will eat at least 1 hour of your battery life. And if the reason I'm buying a wireless buds is to enjoy my music wirelessly for as long as possible, then I would use SPC AAC and just enjoy the music. They already sound very good as it is. Connection is very solid too. I've never had any cut-offs or dropouts even when I put the phone in my pocket. It's about 1 wall, 2 brick walls until you start dropping some audio, which is pretty much normal with any Bluetooth earbuds. And yeah, we're almost finished here. Let's check out the latency and mic test right now.
Same is not true for non-M1 devices like my beloved iPad mini right here, and judging by the comments under that video, people are pissed. So I went ahead and installed the developer beta of iPadOS 16 on my favorite iPad here to see what this does for the mini. Let's wrap.
Alright, welcome to the microphone test everyone. Right now you're listening to the Soundcore Sport X10, and this is the best case scenario. Basically, I'm recording indoors with a relatively quiet environment, which is the best sound you'll get out of these earbuds. And one thing I wanted to say is, unfortunately, you cannot switch between transparency and ANC. It's when picking up phone calls, it will just go back to normal mode, which is a shame because transparency mode really does help in giving you a more like open and natural conversation. But yeah, I have this simulated crowd noise setup right here. Let's test out the noise cancellation, and we'll turn that on for a bit and we'll talk. Let's see if you can hear my voice still clearly. This is playing at 75% volume, which is pretty loud. But yeah, to give you a more accurate representation, we'll go outside and we'll see how it does in real life. All right, welcome to the outdoor microphone test, everyone. Right now you're listening to the Soundcore Sport X10. This is more noisy than usual because we have this water pump guy watering the plants there. But yeah, what do you think of the Soundcore Sport X10? Can you hear my voice clearly? And let's do a little comparison with the benchmark of a test, the popular AirPods. Alright, here we are now with the Apple AirPods. What do you think of the sound quality difference? Can you hear my voice clearer? This is the exact same situation as before. And is this street noise canceled better than before? And of course, the water pump guy. Okay, that's pretty much it for the microphone test. Let's go upstairs and we'll get back to the video. To sum everything up, I really appreciate what Soundcore has done to reinvent the sports earbuds genre here. We no longer have to put up with bulky cases, and we got everything from water resistance, modern features, and awesome sound quality that is good enough to be called one of the best bass-heavy sound for the price. It is an easy recommendation for me, and now you know all the reasons why. Okay, comment down below if you have more questions. I'll try my best to help you out, and don't forget to use the affiliate links down below to help me keep the channel going. Also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok for snippets of what's coming next, and thank you so much for watching. I'm Kenneth, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.